Hello, my name is Woody Martin with artswill.com. I'm very grateful to be here at Funnel 5 conference today. Today I'm going to be sharing some cartoons with you. The first one is entitled Teachability. Now let's see if we can learn something from this.
Teachability. What is required of a human being in order to learn new information? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Here we have a standard human being. We see some new information is coming towards the human. It takes it in through one of its many sensory apparatus. The information then enters the left brain. It bounces off against the arrogance and skepticism belief guards and exits the human. Whether it's true or false information, this human will be faced with constant frustration and resistance and cannot learn or be taught new information. Now let's take another look at that. Here we have our human subject again. Some new information inputs through one of its sensory apparatus. The information enters the right brain. It is warmly welcomed by the naivete and gullibility belief guards. These belief guards hold all the information hostage and will not let any of it out. Unfortunately, again, this human is trapped in confusion and frustration. They cannot decipher true information from false information. Okay, let's try this one more time. Some new information packets input into the brain through one of the many sensory apparatus. In this instance, the information is greeted by the naivete guard in the right brain and introduced to the skepticism guard in the left brain. The information is then carefully examined by both guards and either kept for later use if truth is found, or rejected if the information is false. Now that's better. Our human has finally got it. With this balanced approach, the human will eliminate confusion, frustration, and resistance. They will be able to learn or be taught new information and will grasp a solid understanding of truth.
Hello again, it's Woody here with Arts Will, and I'm excited to introduce you to my friend Namajnib. He's a Bigfoot. Let's see what we can learn from his transmissions.
Mind, as well as metals and elements, may be transmuted from state to state, degree to degree, condition to condition, pole to pole, vibration to vibration. True hermetic transmutation is a mental art, the Kabbalion. Mental transmutation is the act of changing the state or condition through mental willpower. Through your will, you can transmute from the state of sadness to the state of happiness in your mind. Since the universe is mental in nature, then mental transmutation must be the act of changing the conditions of the cussing universe. You humans have everything all cussing backwards. That's why you have enslaved yourselves. You think that you need government to externally control human behavior to have order. Well, that's cussing backwards. You're trying to change things from the plane of effects. Humans need to live like Bigfoot. Each one of us big feet governs ourselves from the plane of causation within our cussing minds, living in right action or living morally, in the state of anarchy, not needing external masters or control slavery systems like government. Stop following the cussing rhetoric of your governments and world leaders who are using divide and conquer separation tactics on you humans. keeping you running around in their financial slavery system to support your superficial obsessions. Take Bigfoot's advice and transmutate out of this state by deciding to live morally on your own terms and say no to their limiting wars and agendas and build communities of sharing that produce abundance like this earth is designed to do. Morality and freedom are directly linked. The more moral people are collectively, the more freedom you will have. The less moral you humans are collectively, the less freedom you will have. Thus following the laws of polarity and correspondence. That's why it's so important that you spread Bigfoot's word. Say no to corrupt agendas and transmute away from these systems into systems based upon care and sharing for all to flourish. See you next time. I've got a song for y'all.
Hello, let's hop back into this. What types of cussing worldviews come out of these different brain schisms? If an individual has a left brain schism, a worldview of randomness will manifest. We observe these people following scientism, atheism, and totalitarianism, thinking existence has no purpose other than to continue to exist. Putting self-survival as the highest purpose in life, selfishly thinking that right is only right if it's good for them, and wrong is only wrong if it's bad for them. Saying there is no such thing as natural, spiritual, moral law. There is no creator. There's no underlying intelligence in nature. Everything is just a grand accident and happened cussing randomly. If an individual has a right brain schism, a worldview of cussing, determinism will manifest. When we observe these people, we see religious extremism and slaves think. Sitting around believing action is ultimately meaningless. Why God controls everything. It's impossible for us to cause change. Free will does not exist. It's just an illusion. Because obviously everything is preordained because God controls every event in creation. So just ignore the bad in the world. You can transcend that by keeping yourself at peace. Cussing wrong. The solution is in creating a balance. In fact, balance is key to everything. One must balance the deterministic aspect of our reality, natural law, and the randomness aspect of our reality, free will, to form a holistic world view. Natural law is set. You're not changing it. It happens flawlessly no matter what. And free will, the ability to choose to do certain things and the ability to choose not to do certain things. The free will ability to control one's cussing behaviors. Each one of you humans have it, just like us big feet do. Next, we're going to take a look at human nature. Which is it? Evil or good? Cuss. See ya. Hello again. In order to fix the cussing human condition, we must take a closer look at how your reality is built through your mental activity. In previous transmissions, we talked about the law of mentalism. We also talked about the process of mental transmutation and how this can be used to change the condition of your reality through the mental act of will. Now I'm going to dissect the inner workings of this a bit more so you humans can understand how your reality is built. Because the way your reality is built closely corresponds to how you can cussing reprogram yourselves. In fact, they're both based off the same three-step process. Okay, step one, the foundation, knowledge, to know or not to know. A human's knowledge is based off the available information you humans have access to. Any accessible information has the potential to be processed and understood by an individual human. Us big feet have noticed lots of key information has been hidden and obscured from most of you humans. We've even witnessed humans actively discouraging other humans from even looking into the key information, blocking the understanding of how this all works. Which brings us to our next step, understanding. To understand or not understand. Your human minds, like our Bigfoot minds, process the available aggregated information, making connections and recognizing patterns, thus driving the decision-making process within each of your human minds. Now to the final step, wisdom, the action in the world. We big feet noticed most of you humans confusing wisdom for cussing knowledge and understanding. No, wisdom is actually the behavior you humans decide to act upon based upon the quality of information available, equaling the manifestation of the human condition within your societies. So, the aggregate conditions of a cussing society is based upon the behaviors that are output through each human. Are these behaviors based in morality and ethics or not? Now, let's look at how this three-step process can be used to reprogram yourselves and learn anything. Cuss, see ya. I'm back. As promised, I'm going to get into how you can reprogram yourself, which is really just the desire to better oneself and how they interact with the world around them. So how does one better themselves, you humans ask? Well, to begin, one must cussing care. Care is the fuel which ignites one's passion to create change. Once you care, it can be achieved the same way us big feet do it, through using the trivium process coupled with hermetic transmutation. Yes, the trivium, the amazing three-step process I've cussing mentioned before. In fact, a few years ago, the trivium was the theme for the entire FUNL conference. I brought up transmutation several transmissions ago, and the trivium was hinted at in my last transmission. However, let's dig into it a bit more so we have a better understanding of how cussing versatile this process is. Here are just a few versions of the trivium: grammar, logic, rhetoric, knowledge, understanding, wisdom, input, processing, output, available information, decision-making process, human behavior, hypothesis, experimentation, conclusion. Okay, great, trivium. So how the heck do I better myself with that? We big feet have noticed a large amount of you humans were exposed to a lot of anger while you were growing up. Now, you express anger negatively in your own lives. So I will use this as an example. Okay, step one, input. Diagnosing the existence of a mental polarity imbalance or schism related to anger. Sometimes you are consciously aware of this, or maybe this was pointed out by a friend or family member who recognized that you fly off the cussing handle sometimes. And this anger can cause harm to others if handled improperly. So, now that we've diagnosed anger as a potential problem, let's continue to input or learn some more information regarding anger. Anger is a Bigfoot, human emotion caused by frustration. This emotion can last about 90 seconds unless re-triggered by mental thought activity, willful or not. Next, breathing techniques can be used to reduce anger. Anger can be converted into an energy source to fuel creative productivity. Now we've input some very good data points, so let's move on to step 2.
Is that mate in a costume?
Processing. Cuss. See you next time. I apologize for the interruptions. Okay, where were we? Step 2, processing. Within the human, like us big feet, the processing part typically deals with 4 aspects: earth, air, water, fire, or physicality, intellect, emotion, action. Now, let's see how that corresponds with the data points we found regarding anger. Physicality, the individual who is trying to manage their anger and the physical world around them. Intellect, a frustration arises which triggers anger. This frustration can arise from an internal or external source. The frustrating thought activity produces an emotion of anger. Now it's time to use mindfulness. Mental recognition of the anger emotion and its triggers. Action, using a breathing technique to transmute anger into a more desirable emotion. Now that we've processed some of the correspondences in regards to anger, we can now move to the third and final step of the trivium, which is output. Choosing the wise action and actually using the breath work to control anger. Now you have a methodology to reprogram yourself. In regards to anger management, using the trivium process and transmutation. However, it's a lot easier said than done. The use of willful mindfulness and transmutation is like a muscle. It must be worked out to gain strength. Now, Bigfoot would like to leave you with his favorite breathing meditation, heart-brain coherence. This is a great breathing meditation for repolarizing oneself back into a state of love, so they can truly manifest love through their hearts and minds. There are many uses for this heart-brain coherence meditation. This ancient technique used by us Big Feet and other meditation gurus for millennia has been scientifically proven effective by some of the clever humans at Heart Math Institute. Funny enough, it's also a 3-step process. Step 1, close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart. Step 2, breathe deeply, imagining your brain and heart connecting. Some find it helpful to move their hand up the chest towards the head and back down. Step 3, shift your consciousness and awareness towards the emotion of love and compassion. It's helpful to recall a memory where you felt this emotion strongly. Really try to feel this emotion in your whole body. That's cussing it. That's the meditation. Does not take long at all. Only about a minute. Now you humans have a real powerful tool to help ignite your hearts and minds and manifest freedom. Now let's see how you can use the trivium to decipher.
Is that a kangaroo?
Truth, cuss, see you.